countries that had to hold jazz to a high level and make it a, a lucrative genre. Okay, so over the years, it has been assumed and taken that yes, jazz really emanated from the Americans. Americans have the great jazz players. You can talk of a lot of them. Okay, so now in the 1900s to 10s, 20s to now, can we still say that yes, jazz is for the Americans? What is happening? That is what we want to really talk about. Now, if you critically look at the whole structure, jazz was born in America. No doubt about it. Okay, and the most famous of jazz players emanated from America. Okay, USA. And so we can equally give them that credit. But today, which countries, which players are holding the fort? Okay, most of the jazz recordings that you can highly hear or highly appreciate came from the Americans. But that does not mean that automatically Americans have the best of jazz players. Okay, and that's where I want to settle up our debate. It doesn't mean that jazz American jazz players are the best jazz players in the world. No, jazz was created in the US, in the American state. We agree to the fact. But now, okay, let's take it for instance, the lives of Louis Armstrong, American, Charlie Parker, American, John Coltrane, American, Elton. I mean, famous people. Most of them came from the American side. But today, you can see that the table is turning. Now you have some great players coming from France. Even in South Africa, you can have crazy jazz players coming from South Africa. Okay, South Africa, you can have some coming from Japan. Even France, we have some great jazz players coming, even Brazil. So now, even though the Americans started it, but you can claim ownership now. We can't really give ownership to the Americans alone now because some countries are also having great jazz players coming. Even in Cuba, we are having great, and most of them are bringing out some jazz skills that is really worth to know. I mean, creating some kind of sounds, extraordinary sounds and levels. Okay, that is packing the internet. So credits to the Americans, but we still say that they don't own the jazz now because jazz has now traveled out of their borders. Okay, now if we are talking about innovation, creativity, creating a niche in that area, we can say yes, Americans did a great job in that aspect. Now let's consider let's consider some Japan, France, and Cuba players of jazz. Okay, I don't know where this guy is coming from though, Joe Pass. I love his style, but I don't know. Yeah. So Japan we have Himori, Hiromi, Hiromi. I haven't heard of Hiromi before, but I have it here that he's one of the crazy jazz players. We have Makato, Makoto Ozone. He's also a jazz player. Terum Hino too is also a jazz player based in Japan. Okay, I'm not able to, but Django Reinhardt. This is one of the guys that I love I love playing his jazz so much. He has one jazz called Gypsy Jazz. He's a crazy player. He's from France. Very, very crazy player. I love that guy so much. We have Michel Petrucciani. That one too also come from France. We have Richard Galliano also coming from France, and Stephanie Gapella, Gapelli also coming from France. So you see, now America may have created jazz and produced most of it pioneers, but countries like Japan and France have produced world class jazz musicians. I want you to take note of that. I want you to take note of that. Very, very important.